The Ingress scan function on the Viavi meter is vital to verifying that very little or no noise exists in the cable work you are completing. So first, let's talk about what Ingress actually is. Now, I'm sure you all are aware that part of the FCC requirements for cable systems is that they are supposed to be closed systems. All connections, equipment, and cables are supposed to be tight and undamaged. Part of the reason for this is that we use some of the same frequencies as other services that exist out there, like air traffic control to aircraft and 911 dispatch to law enforcement and emergency vehicles in some cases. If our signals leak out of the system, they can interfere with these other services that use the same frequencies. In turn, if any other service's signals get into our system, it can cause communication problems for us. Now, ingress is any unwanted noise or signal that gets into the cable system. It can be generated from just about anything that is transmitting a frequency. These frequencies can get in from a damaged cable, loose connectors, open tap ports, unshielded materials like store-bought splitters, jumpers, etc. Noise can also be injected in by a faulty piece of equipment that happens to be connected to the cable system. Even though it can occur within the forward and return directions of signal flow, the return ingress is actually the more important of the two for us. It's the one we need to make sure is not there. The set-top boxes, modems, and EMTAs that you install in the customer's homes are designed to transmit return signals back to the head end. When excessive return ingress exists, it can interfere with the return signals that are actually supposed to be there. This can cause all types of problems for the customer. Things like slow internet speeds, dropped phone calls or calls that sound tinny, and issues with video services that use two-way communication. If you are able to detect and eliminate this unwanted ingress, it will help to keep trouble calls down and give the customer a better experience with their services. Let's get started. From the home screen on the Viavi, go to the CATV tab. You will see the option Ingress Scan. Once you select it, the Viavi will have options for test locations: tap, ground block, or CPE. You will also see the Configure tab at the bottom left. Select Configure so that you can choose the high frequency to check up to. You can see here that we're set to check from 5 MHz up to 42 MHz, which is the frequency range used by most for return. If you work in an area that can receive FM radio stations, you'll probably want to change this to scan up to 110 MHz, because FM radio stations exist up to 107 MHz, and these can also get into our system. Even though it's not in the return band, these FM radio stations can still interfere with signal. You should ensure that all outlets in use in the home are connected to the equipment that would normally be there. Now remember, what you're looking for is anything coming from the house back towards the tap. If you choose the tap location, you will disconnect the customer's drop from the tap and connect it to port 2 on the Viavi, and press Start. Now for training purposes, I left tracers off so that you can see, as I turn them on, the different lines that show up. Go down to Settings, and you will see Traces. Once in Traces, I'm going to enable Power, the black line, which is the amount of noise that currently exists. I will also enable Max Hold, the orange line. Now this is the maximum level that the noise has achieved. What I want to see are flat lines at a low power level. This indicates that there are no frequencies coming from the home cabling. It should look like this. Here we are, right around -50 dBmV, which is what we want. You can look at the entire frequency range, as well as narrow the range by sliding the tab at the bottom labeled Horizontal. Also, if you notice at the top of the display, you will see peak signal and a frequency. This indicates the highest peak noise that has occurred and at what frequency it happened. If any noise exists, it is your job to isolate where this is getting in. If ingress shows up, it may look something like this. We have detected noise getting into the cabling somewhere between any of the pieces of equipment in the home and the tap. Now at this point, you will want to test from the ground block in. When you choose ground block, you will connect the home run feeding into the home to port 2 on the Viavi, or connect a short jumper from the ground block to port 2. If the ingress went away, most likely it is the main drop from the tap to the ground block that is allowing noise in, and it should be replaced. If noise still exists at the ground block, then you have eliminated the main drop as the source. You should then check at the input of the splitter, whether it's in the house box or it's in the attic or crawl space location. If you are still seeing ingress, you can try disconnecting one outlet at a time to see if it's an individual cable or the splitter. When you disconnect a cable and the noise goes away, you have most likely found the problem. At this point, you should follow whatever your company policy is for replacement or repair of cabling at the home. Hope this helps, and have a great day out there.